One of the major challenges that the Nigerian economy has had to contend with is the relentless and severe pressure on the country's foreign reserve arising from the high demand for foreign exchange for the importation of food items and consumables. Now, most disturbing and worrisome is the fact that some of the imported food items can be easily produced or processed in the country. Uncomfortable with this wasteful trend, renewed efforts were made by both the monetary and fiscal authorities to revamp the economy through strategic reforms in the agricultural sector in order to stem the unrestrained importation of food items by Nigeria. In its quest to diversify the country's economy, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, in 2015 introduced the Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP, with the adoption of rice production as the pilot phase of the program. Now, this inaugural phase was flagged off by President Muhammadu Buhari in Kebbi State on the 17th of November 2015. The ABP had taken a cue from President Buhari's exhortation that Nigeria should grow what she eats and eat what she grows. The pilot phase of the ABP proved to be a huge success, paving way for the extension of the program to other states of the Federation. The CBN Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP, is the focus of this edition of You and the Economy. As usual, we will provide you with the critical information you need to know about the ABP. Now, let's dissect the CBN Anchor Borrowers Program.
Food security is the single most important thing for Nigeria now.
In a little over 5 years since the Anchor Borrowers Program was launched by President Muhammadu Buhari, it has become a game changer for financing smallholder farmers in Nigeria and will ultimately help in achieving some of the goals of the government economic sustainability plan.
The Anchor Borrower Program has been a tremendous success since inception in 2015, principally in trying to achieve national food security.
We have 54 commodities in the country, and all the 54 commodities, agricultural commodities, are participating in the Central Bank Anchor Borrower Program, and all commodities are getting this kind of support.
We are very happy about the Anchor Borrower scheme.
The often steep and sustained decline in global oil prices and the attendant squeeze on Nigeria's foreign reserve were indeed timely reminders that the country is really left with no option but to diversify its economy away from near total reliance on crude oil exports and into agriculture, services, and other non-oil sectors. Nigeria is blessed with arable land, favorable climatic conditions, and a hard-working population, factors necessary for viable and profitable agricultural enterprise. As part of its development finance initiatives, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, introduced the Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP. The initiative, which is being implemented by the CBN in active collaboration with the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN, was in line with the Apex Bank's quest to diversify the economy away from its dependence on proceeds from crude oil exports.
And I hereby launch the Anchor Borrowers Program Rice.
As you heard earlier, The ABP was flagged off by President Muhammadu Buhari in Birnin Kebbi, capital of Kebbi State, on November 17, 2015. The ABP is designed to assist small-scale farmers to increase the production and supply of feedstock to agro-processors. Its loans are targeted at smallholder farmers, otherwise known as SHFs or outgrowers, engaged in the production of some identified commodities across the country. The ABP is aimed at creating a channel to link outgrowers to local processors, increase banks' financing to the agricultural sector, enhance the capacity utilization of agricultural firms involved in the production of identified commodities, as well as boost the productivity and incomes of farmers. The Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP, is also a platform to build the capacity of banks in agricultural lending to farmers and entrepreneurs in a value chain, thus reducing commodity importation. It was also introduced to reduce the level of poverty among smallholder farmers and create jobs, while assisting rural smallholder farmers to grow from subsistence to commercial production levels. From the initial emphasis on rice, the ABP subsequently identified some additional commodities for special intervention. Presently, the focal commodities of the ABP's intervention are cassava, cocoa, cotton, fish, livestock/dairy, and poultry. Others are maize, oil palm, tomato, and rice. Rice is, however, the core focal commodity of the program because it accounts for a huge percentage of Nigeria's foreign exchange resources spent on the importation of food items. The overall aim of the ABP is to boost agricultural productivity through the provision of improved seedlings and access to finance for rural farmers. In the modus operandi it put in place for beneficiaries to access its loans, the ABP does not deal with farmers on individual basis. Rather, smallholder farmers interested in accessing the ABP loans, like these farmers who turned out in large numbers to witness President Buhari launch the ABP in Birnin Kebbi on November 17, 2015, are required to organize themselves into groups/cooperatives of between 5 and 20, and every group must be linked to an agro-processor, which plays the role of the anchor in the arrangement. Approved funds are disbursed directly into the accounts of benefiting farmers who are qualified to access the funds once drawdown conditions are met. Besides the accessed funds, benefiting farmers are also provided with farm inputs to cultivate their farms.
There are various windows that we've created, starting with the association model. Typically, farmers, come together, as a group, either to share, extension practices, to discuss the weather, or to, look at the kind of inputs, seeds, water pumps that they get from the various suppliers, compare notes, essentially. So we have an association model which the farmers can plug into. They typically just go collect a form, register with them, and that association will apply for the loan on their behalf. So that's one way of accessing the Agro-processor program. So a lot of farmers do access this window. It's democratic, it's easy to access. The associations exist all over the country, in every single local government, either as cooperatives or as small farming groups. They come together, and then we have development finance officers across the country. So if a farmer is having challenges, he can easily be attended to by the DFO, who is in constant touch with the various associations. We also have the private sector window, which is called the prime anchor window. So farmers can approach any of the commercial farmers, talk to them that I have this 1 hectare of land and I want you to be able to apply on my behalf. They will take your BVN, check that you don't have any encumbrances, and list you through the program. So the procedure is quite easy.
There is perhaps no better way to assess the performance of the Anchor Borrowers Program than reviewing its subscription levels, scope of coverage, and the total amount granted as loans since its inception in November 2015. When its fifth anniversary was marked in March 2021, the ABP had pooled an impressive total subscriber base of 3,107,000 farmers, who were spread across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. More than 3,800,000 hectares of land had also been cultivated by the beneficiary farmers, featuring 21 identified commodities through 23 participating financial institutions. Also, a huge sum of 554.61 billion naira had been disbursed through the program by March 2021, a support that has helped the participating farmers to improve their yields significantly while generating employment on the farms. Beyond being a tool for economic empowerment, job creation, and wealth redistribution, the ABP has also stimulated financial inclusion in rural communities. Thanks to the ABP, smallholder farmers, who are traditionally considered as bad lending risks by financial institutions, have been able to access loans to develop their farms.
Before, we are just farming locally and we don't have support. We are doing it on our own. But when the Anchor Borrower came, they give us loan, they assist us, they give us at least input, fertilizer, and so many things with the chemical.
Before now, ordinary smallholder farmer can't even approach ordinary microfinance bank. But today, the same smallholder farmer is rubbing shoulder to shoulder with Governor Emefiele.
The ABP is a very good thing. It is germane, it is commendable, it is helping the farmers who otherwise could not produce much. The support that the CBN gives the farmers in Nigeria is unheard of. Nobody has done it ever before. And we are grateful for it. Generally, because of the impact of the Agro-processor program, you can see now this first quarter of 2021, agriculture is contributing about 22% to the GDP.
Certainly, smallholder farmers, who are its primary target beneficiary, have benefited immensely from the Anchor Borrowers Program. But they have not been the only major beneficiaries of the scheme. Processors of agricultural commodities, who play the role of anchors in the implementation of the ABP, as well as business entrepreneurs who have shifted their gaze in the direction of the agri-processing industry, have keyed in to the program to avail themselves of its benefits. By making access to basic inputs relatively easier for them, through direct linkage with farmers who cultivate primary agricultural commodities, the ABP has succeeded in attracting an impressive stream of investments in the processing industry of the economy. And nowhere is this positive trend most prevalent than in rice processing, where a large number of large-scale integrated processing mills have sprung up, stimulated by the introduction of the ABP. These processing industries, along with their micro and small-scale variants, have continued to have significant impact on the economy of the states and communities in which they are located, and indeed on the overall well-being of the country itself.
Today, we stop counting the number of rice mills that comes in because of this program. I was counting before, 40 integrated rice mills, 60, 70, we lost count completely because every day new rice mills are coming up.
In his address at the flagging off of the Argungu International Fishing Festival by President Muhammadu Buhari in March 2020, Governor of Kebbi State, Alhaji Atiku Bagudu, reaffirmed that the ABP has registered significant impact on the agricultural commodity processing industry in Kebbi State in particular and Nigeria in general.
Mr. President, you launched the Agro-processors program in 2015 in Kebbi State. And within a year in Argungu town, the first large-scale industrial miller, Wakot, joined the pioneer Labana to be commissioned. Labana has been expanding capacity. Today we have rice mills coming up. One has come up in Kamba, a large-scale, again, integrated miller. Another one is coming in Shanga local government by Dangote Rice. And another one yet still is coming up by Zango Farms in Argungu. But this masks the big gain that small-scale women processors and numerous small-scale mills have scrutinized both in Kebbi and across Nigeria. Today, in addition to all the successes in rice, as we speak, one of the biggest tomato processing facilities is coming up in Ngaski local government of Yauri Emirate, and by May it will be ready for commissioning.
Even as rice is not the sole focal commodity of the ABP, the images of intimidating pyramids of bagged rice paddies that are now visible in virtually all the 6 geopolitical zones of the country further underscore the tremendous successes achieved by the intervention program. As part of activities held lately to highlight the performance of the ABP, tall pyramids of rice paddies were unveiled at impressive events held successfully in the first half of 2021 in Birnin Kebbi State, where President Muhammadu Buhari had launched the scheme in November 2015. Gombe State, and in Ado-Ekiti, Ekiti State. The unveiling of rice pyramids in Ado-Ekiti was particularly significant because that was the first time ever that grains pyramids were displayed in the southwest region of the country. Those veritable proofs of the success of the ABP became expected and realizable when in December 2020, these pyramids of paddy rice were displayed in Minna at an event to formally launch a 2-cycle dry season rice farming program to boost the output of the ABP. Even before this series of dedicated events to showcase the performance of the ABP were held, similar pyramids of rice were displayed for President Muhammadu Buhari to see at the Agri Fair held on the sidelines of the Argungu International Fishing Festival in March 2020, much to the delight of the President.
I have been able to witness the launch of rice pyramids in Niger for the North Central Zone, Kebbi for the Northwest Zone, and now Gombe State for the Northeast Zone. These symbolic events reinforces the massive potential in Nigerian agriculture and encourages more private sector investments in the agricultural value chain. It is also encouraging news which presents a different narrative which portends that most of our farmers are unable to go to their farms due to nationwide insecurity.
What is being demonstrated here and across the length and breadth of Nigeria since the Agro-processors program started is the capacity of our people to produce what we will eat and to eat what we produce, just as our President Muhammadu Buhari has always consistently told us to do. And our gratitude goes to no other than to President Muhammadu Buhari for changing the narrative. Because if you come here, the last time we probably saw anything like this was in the great Kano Groundnut Pyramid. But now, it is the rice pyramids all across the length and breadth of our country.
The Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria is displaying the riches and the successes and the gains of the last 5 years by this massive array of pyramids which could hardly have ever been witnessed before in the country. This is a great testament to the journey so far.
The admirable and impressive successes recorded in the implementation of the ABP have had significant multiplier effect on the economy. Indeed, it is widely believed that the ABP helped to avert food crisis in Nigeria at the height of the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. It is also to the credit of the ABP that it has helped achieve sustained annual reduction in the nation's food import bills in the years since its introduction.
Rice importation from Thailand fell from 644,131 metric tons in September 2015 to 20,000 metric tons in September 2017, which accounts for a drop of over 90%. The success so far recorded was made possible because of the Anchor Borrowers program.
When we started this program in November 2015, a few of us were skeptical about the success of this program. But today, we are all living witnesses. It is a reality, and I stand before you to thank God for this success.
In all, the Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP, has registered impressive marks since it was flagged off by President Muhammadu Buhari in November 2015. As an inclusive and large-scale program on farming, the intervention scheme is already helping to build sustainable food production systems and boost the nation's efforts to attain food security. This will undoubtedly help reverse Nigeria's worrisome negative balance of payments on food. The ABP has also established a more reliable channel of input supply to agro-processors in the country, whom it has linked directly with smallholder farmers producing the key agricultural commodities they require as inputs for their food processing plants. Most visible is how the ABP has generated millions of jobs for unemployed Nigerians, especially in rural communities. The overall performance of the Anchor Borrowers Program can thus be summed up in the cliché, so far, so good.
As you have seen in that illuminating story, the Anchor Borrowers Program is a milestone intervention initiative in Nigeria's agricultural sector, and its impact has been positively resounding. Indeed, it is obvious that if it does not run into unexpected and insurmountable turbulence, the program will assist in boosting and consolidating the food security and economic growth policies of the government and increase Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings from the export of its focal commodities. For more information on the Anchor Borrowers Program or other CBN policies and intervention programs, please log on to the CBN website. It's www.cbn.gov.ng or call the CBN Contact Center on 0700 225 5226. On that note, we have come to the end of this week's edition of You and the Economy. To join us again next week when we shall bring you another exciting episode of the program. Until then, it's goodbye for now.
you.